Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is just a quick little video to go with my black and white album flip through. I wanted to show you how I made the flowers that I used in the project, and I also wanted to show you a flower that I didn't use and why I didn't use it, just to give you an idea if you haven't done this before, how you would go about making your flowers. I have here, this is my Sissix Big Shot, which is what I used. I'm not sure why it's rocking. Seems like it, maybe it's sitting on some, maybe the table's not perfectly flat. And then I use these graphic 45 dies. I used a lot of dies, but I'm just going to demonstrate with these. And then this is a die that I did not use. I'm going to talk about why. So what you'll need is something to cut out your shapes. I used the dies and my Big Shot. You could use, you know, if you've got a silhouette or a cricket, something like that, that would certainly work. Or you could cut them out by hand. And there's tons and tons of YouTube videos out there that will show you how to go about making these kind of flowers. I'm by no means an expert. So you'll need a machine of some sort or your scissors. You'll need dies or a pattern of flower shapes to cut out. You'll need some paper. I used my artisan cardstock. You could use pattern paper. Some glue. I used my art glitter glue. I also used a pair of tweezers. I used a tool that has a round ball end, and I will link down below the tool that I used. You could probably use something else, but this is what I always use. And then I used a chopstick. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to apologize right off the bat that I need new plates for my Sissix. Mine are a mess from cutting so much stuff. I don't know if you can see how truly terrible they are. But anyway, so you just take your paper. I have, you can see this one is much better. I have one that I use, you know, where the blade points towards, and the other one that doesn't. So that I don't end up with both of them a mess. You're going to take your dies and place them face down with the little blade part facing down. Normally I would put a whole lot on here and use as much paper, you know, get as much out of a scrap of paper as I could. So hopefully you can see that. And I'm also going to cut this little guy. And I want you to see this one because I'm going to explain why I didn't use any like this in this book. It's going to cut, you'll see, a spiral shape. Okay, and then you put the other plate on top and run it through the machine. Okay, and you don't need a specific type of die for any specific machine. They'll all work in any die cutting machine for the most part. And there's some like big thick ones that you need a certain kind of machine for, but okay, so then I'm going to pull these off. So there's the dies. Set those aside. And there's our cuts. And let me get this out of the way. And as I said, when I was making the book, and if I was actually working on a project, I would have filled this piece with as many dies as I could to cut. Okay, so I'll cut that out, and then this is the one which I did not use. Okay, so we'll set that aside for now. So generally I like to have at least 3 graduated sizes to make a flower. Okay, and in this case I have 3. You can do more than 3, you could do less, you know, you could just do 2, you could even do 1, but I prefer 3. So what I do is I take the piece, I've got my tool that's rounded on the bottom, I take the piece with the top side up and place it in the palm of my hand. I like to use the palm of my hand for this. Take the tool and just gently, well, not too gently really, I don't know why I say gently, but I'm actually not all that gentle about it. But the shape of your palm will start to make this cup as you just make circles, just in the center. Okay, and then once you've done that, then you can do each petal. Again, you can go up and down and in circles. You just want to give it some dimension, each petal. The bigger ones like this will take longer. But again, just use the softness of the palm of your hand. You can use a pillow and stuff for this. It keeps them clean, I suppose, but my hands are clean. I do wash my hands before I do something like this. But if you prefer to use a pillow, then you can use a pillow. But I just like to use the palm of my hand. Okay. And I'll do this one. And you want a tool that has a pretty large ball on it of some kind, because if it's too small, you're just going to damage or dent these petals. Okay, and then the last one. Okay, so there's that. Okay, and then you're going to repeat that for this one, and this one's going to be easier because it's smaller, and I'm just gradually doing each petal and the middle, and I hope you can see. Okay, there's the second one, and then the third one, when it's tiny like this, I just roll around the whole thing and it'll just curl up. Okay, just like that. So now we have our 3 parts. And we're going to set aside this tool, and we're going to get out our chopstick. And for this, you're going to take each petal, I hope you can see, and here you do want to be careful. You don't want to bend the paper, you want to curl the paper. Like, you don't want to get a sharp edge. Okay. And just, can you see how I did that? And just curl it away. And you can play with the shape of these curls to give your flowers different looks. You can curl them at an angle, you can curl some in, you can curl them out like I'm doing. So just, can you see what I'm doing? I hope you can see what I'm going to hold it up this way and see if that shows better what I'm doing. But I'm basically just curling the petals back out. Okay, and then I'm going to repeat that, and of course to a lesser degree as they get smaller. Okay. Okay, there's that one. Okay, and then the little guy, I don't do very much on these inner ones, really, just a touch. And they make all kinds of tools. So they make what they call quilling tools that'll help you with curling these, especially this type of flower that I'm going to show you, which is what I would normally use, but to be perfectly honest, I couldn't find my quilling tools. Okay, so here's this flower, and then all you need to do to put it together. Now, if you weren't doing what I was doing, which is an all black and white album, you could dust these or use ink on them, or pens or paint. You could use pattern paper, just, you know, whatever you wanted to do before you put it together, or you could do some after. Oh, my glue doesn't want to run. Hang on. Okay, and then just put a small dot of glue right in the middle. And then I like to use my tweezers for this, and you want to put the petals of the one you're putting down in the space. You know, you want to offset it. Just like that. And then take your ball tool like that. So you can see I've got petal here, a petal here with a space in between, and then here I've lined up this petal with that space. Okay, and then I just use my ball tool to make sure it's firmly down. And then we'll use this one. The tweezers are especially handy for these teeny tiny ones. Okay. just like that. And then what I did is I attached my crystals after I put the flowers in the book, but you could certainly do them before. And then you want to choose a crystal that's a good size for your flower. That one looks good. And these are actually adhesive backed, but I still used, on some of them I used art glitter glue, and on some of them I used glossy accents. And then, whoops, just put that down, give it a good press, and there you go, a flower. Okay, and oh my goodness, my crystal's not centered. Hazard of working with it kind of far in front of me. That's a little better. Okay, now let me show you this type of a flower. Okay, and the way these work, okay, is hang on, let me just, you would curl, you know, give your petals a little curl. Okay, and like so. And what these do is they curl on themselves. Okay, I'm trying to find the best way to do this. I'm just going to use this. I'm using my chopstick, but basically you roll these up and shape the petals as you go, you know, bend them out, and use some glue as you're going along. I'm not doing that because I'm not actually making this flower. I'm just showing you, and you can see I'm kind of bending these out as we go, and it's kind of a hot mess, but as we keep going and going and going, and then eventually you get to the end. Okay, and you will have done a neat job if you're doing this yourself, but I wanted you to see, if you can see from the side, this produces like a rose, and you can see how much dimension that this has, which is awesome if it was going on the cover of a book. But I knew that a lot of my flowers were going to go inside a book. I'll just put that down. So I wanted more like these kind of flowers that were flatter. So when you're choosing dies, I would stay away from these unless you know you're only going to use it on the cover to make your roses. And you can see it makes a very pretty rose, but not what I wanted for this particular book. So rather than using these rolled flowers, you want to use little stacked flowers like this. And I'll link some dies that would work down below, and I did in the video with the walkthrough as well. All right, so that's that. Again, I am no expert, but I've certainly made a lot of flowers after that one album, and that's how I did it. I hope that helps, and if you've not seen the black and white album walkthrough, I will link it, so go ahead and give it a watch, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you've enjoyed it, share it, and all the usual YouTube stuff. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.